30s who was being hauled to the hospital after being hit by a truck while trying to save a few high schoolers. A good deed never goes unpunished. Moreover, the police state that there were 2 high schoolers who also got hit by the truck, though they seem to be missing. Anyways, back to the guy. He feels as if he's drifting away. Besides, he doesn't seem to be that depressed, since he always had a lonely life. But suddenly, he hears some random voice chattering, and before he could know it, his life drifts away from his hand, though he has one regret, dying a virgin. Yup, his life did take an L, however, after some moments he's entirely conscious of a different place. He has been reincarnated as a child in another world with all his memories intact. Truck-kun did his magic splendidly. At first he feels confused about what's going on. Moreover, the person in front of him starts to speak some unknown language. However, MC gets shocked when the guy lifts him up, since MC is around 100 kilos. Though when he reaches his hand out to touch the woman's chest, he notices these childish hands, thus he realizes that he is born to a young couple who named him Rudius. As a kid, he crawls around the house discovering new stuff and making mischief. However, the kid seems to have some young desires. Once he puts underwear over his head, which made Lilia, their house help, creeped out by him. Little did she know this is an adult man reincarnated with all his perviness. At least she's smart enough to recognize it. At first he thinks that he is reincarnated in some European country. But as he grows up and notices his surroundings, he notices that modern technology doesn't exist in this world. Moreover, he notices that their house doesn't even have electricity or gas. Though as he observes his father practicing with a sword, hence he is astonished to find that he has been reincarnated in a world of magic and fantasy. Seeing Zenith, his mother, perform magic on him, he gets intrigued by it and starts studying magic. And that confirms to him the fact that he got reincarnated to another realm. As soon as he starts to walk, he finds that magical capacity is not determined by genes and can be increased by using more and more magic at an early age. Though his family seems worried about seeing a kid reading such books at this age. However, Rudius focuses on increasing his capacity and learns incantation-less magic as well. After failing so many times, he finally manages to intermediate the magic and ends up blasting the wall. Took him years. Hearing the noise, his parents arrive and are surprised. They decided to hire a tutor for him. While they were expecting an old bearded mage, instead, they found a young blue-haired girl, Roxy. Strong bonds come in small packaging. Roxy thinks a kid this age won't be able to comprehend magical theory, and parents often overestimate their that she has plans to travel the world. Besides, reaches out to Rudius and explains to him that Eris's 10th birthday is approaching and her birthday party is going to be held soon, and she has to dance in front of the nobility. Seeing a baby gorilla doing ballet would be better than this sight. At the pace Eris is learning, she won't be able to make it on time, therefore she requires the time from Rudius's lecture, to which he agrees immediately. I can't comprehend why anyone would say otherwise. Putting the free time to use, Rudius decides to learn another language. Is he aiming to become a diplomat or what? Rudy and Philip bond over the cuteness of the beast people in the library, and Philip gives him special permission to take out books. At this point, Rudius' main motivation is to learn the beast god language, so he could attract some beast chicks. Well, that was Philip's motivation too. It just runs in the blood. As Rudy returns home after borrowing those books, he writes a letter to Roxy, explaining that he intends to learn different languages, such as beast god, battle god, and demon god. However, he gets help from Elaine in learning beast god, and figures out battle god by himself, but is stuck on demon god. Though he hears some disturbance in the hall, hence Rudy decides to check up. Turns out Eris is giving Edna a really tough time, since she's struggling too much and doesn't seem to get the knack of dancing. Hence she keeps running off. When he asks Roxy for guidelines, she writes him a help book on Demon God and warns him to sell that book. She informs that the Roxy figure that Rudy sold to a merchant has found its way to her, and she is surprised to find all the details. Edna is having trouble making Eris take the lessons, and at this point Eris seems to give up on dancing. She decides to skip her own birthday party due to the dance, which reminds Rudy about his past life, since he also ditched many events due to his social phobia. So Edna asks Rudius for help. Hence, Rudy starts to lecture Eris by saying that practice makes things perfect. Moreover, he gives examples of his struggle. Hence, Eris agrees to take the lessons only if Rudius takes them too. She really is wicked. While practicing, Eris starts to dance aggressively, and Rudy ends up being thrown towards the wall. Days pass by, however, Rudy finally starts his business of trading crafted statues at the market. Somehow, Edna claims that Eris's dancing skill has indeed improved. Hence, finally, the day arrives with everyone praying that it ends without any trouble. Except for Rudius, he's just there for the food. Without wasting any time, the main event of dancing begins. Therefore, Princess Eris gets accompanied by a random kid to dance. But as everyone feared, Eris messed up the dance. Rudius couldn't take the comments and asked Eris for a dance. At first, he was having trouble because Eris was moving very fast, but he devised a plan and integrated the dance with sword skills to present a magnificent dance. Well, Rudius seems to attract some noble girls as they approach Rudy and ask for a dance. Surprisingly, Philip also allows Rudy to enjoy his day, though he advises Rudy to use protection if he takes one of those girls to bed. Though who knew that would make the princess jealous as she smacks Rudy away from those girls. These kids are literally 8 or something. Seeing Eris successful, the Greyer family was overjoyed. So later that night, Rudius gifted wands to both Eris and Jelaine gifted Eris with her ring which was passed down in her family. It is also said that evil wolves wouldn't attack you at night if you wore that ring. She literally gave her the family treasure that's been passed down for centuries. Anyways, the next day, surprisingly Rudy wakes up next to Eris, though this time he controls himself from touching her and decides to take a walk. Though a lighthouse seems to interest Rudy, hence he decides to take a look. On his way, Rudy could hear some intimate voices, which actually motivates him to explore further. As he reaches, Rudy witnesses Lord Soros boning a beast woman. Moreover, Rudius and Soros notice an unknown object hovering in the sky that has been increasing in size. They hope that it won't be anything dangerous. Days pass by. Rudy never liked to learn English in his previous life, though he unexpectedly seems to enjoy learning these new languages, and it is time for Rudius' 10th birthday. The family can't throw a party because of political reasons as Rudy belongs to an opposing branch, Nodos, of Greyer House, whose head is apparently Paul's brother, who is claimed to be way more scummier than Paul. Now it makes sense on why Eris's mother doesn't like poor Rudy. Can't even celebrate his birthday after 5 years. They are having an anime version of Game of Thrones. Rudy noticed Eris smuggling stuff to prepare a surprise for his birthday party, but he acts ignorant of it. On that day, Jelaine has to keep Rudy in his room, so she starts to praise Rudy for learning 3 languages in 2 years. Rudy uses the opportunity and asks Jelaine to show her tails since Rudy wants to make her figure. Without any hesitation, Jelaine pulls her pants down and shows her muscly ass. Moreover, she even allows Rudy to touch her rocky butt. He had played a gamble which would have failed in any other situation. When the time comes, he is surprised to see a full-fledged party for his sake. Plus, Eris welcomes Rudy with a bunch of flowers. Pretty rare to see that girl doing something decent. Rudy thought that she ought to thank them with kind words for the favor and gave an emotional speech. Soros was moved by it and declared war on Nodos to kill Plowman and make Rudius their head. He was removed from the party because he was losing himself in emotions. Poor grandpa. Eris tells him there's a special gift for him. Rudy inquired if the gift involved his parents coming, but that was not the case, since they couldn't make it due to some interruptions. Hearing this, Philip's wife, Hilda, hugs him, and she claims to adopt Rudy. Moreover, she offers him to marry Eris if he doesn't want to be adopted. Wait, didn't she hate him? However, Hilda even debates with Eris by taking Rudy's side. At this point, Hilda is forcing Eris to marry Rudy, while Rudy is just standing there, since no one is even bothering to ask for his opinion. Hence, like their grandpa, Hilda also gets removed from the party. Anyways, back to the surprise gift. The special gift turns out to be an extremely expensive staff, Aqua Harsha. After the party, Philip tells Rudy that Eris has 2 brothers, but they were taken by Philip's brother to the capital because they have a custom that all the males are brought up in the head family. On with the never-ending foolish customs. This explains Hilda's hatred towards Rudy because it pained her to see a boy wandering around in the mansion, considering it his own when her sons can't live there. Philip offers Rudy to join hands by marrying Eris and taking over the Garrett family, but he refuses. Opportunity missed. He could have made his own harem of beast girls. And weirdly, Philip even tells Rudy that he'll tie Eris's hand on Rudy's bed if he wants to. At this point, Philip looks up at Rudy to take control over the upper powers. However, when Rudy reaches his home, he notices Eris sitting on his bed while wearing an unusual dress. So without wasting any time, Rudy starts to kiss Eris, though he stops himself before he can take things to the next level. Since Rudy knows that Philip must have planned all this, Paul and the others are unable to attend the party because of monster attacks on the village, but they gather their gifts to send them to Rudy. But Paul feels something and finds the sky looking strange. All the powers, ranging from the demon emperor to Perugius, felt an accumulation of mana and the unknown object hovering over Ro that had previously been identified by Soros and Rudius. Then a man with gray hair is shown to be facing a dragon. They're literally staring at each other the whole time. Moreover, a purple-haired girl who calls herself the Great Demon Emperor, known as Kirishika Kishirisu. She decides to confront the person who has such mana. Perugius summons Almanfi and orders him to find the source of the disturbance. He fears that someone is trying to undo the seal of Laplace, so Almanfi is given the authority of assassination on sight. On the other hand, Rudy had taken Eris and Jelaine out to the outskirts of town to show them his mightiest magic. But Almanfi attacks Rudy thinking he was the source of this disturbance, but Jelaine intervenes, so Almanfi steps back since he respects the words of the Sword King Ghislaine. Suddenly, a ray of immense white light shoots out of the hovering object and envelopes everyone in itself. Looks like his play to show off has drastically failed. Rudius has a vision and meets the man God, though Rudy literally starts to fight with God, who tells him that they were caught up in a massive mana disaster and got transported to the demon continent. Sounds like an isekai within an isekai. Isekaiception. The man God advises Rudius to trust the man near him upon waking up. Rudy snaps out of the vision and finds a man sitting on the other side of the bonfire. Looking closely, he notices green hair and the red gem, a Superd sitting across the fire. At first he was reluctant, but then explained his circumstances to him. His name was Richard Superdia, and he had seen 2 children falling from the sky. He made a fire for them to stay warm. Unfortunately, he doesn't seem to find Elaine. Richard is surprised but happy to see that Rudy is not afraid of him. Eris wakes up and is terrified to see a Superd. She probably remembered her bedtime stories where a Superd ate her a good number of times. Richard tells Rudy that this was a normal reaction and that he was abnormal, but in a good way. Over the night, Eris becomes friendly with Richard. He assures them that he will escort them back to the central continent. Hence, they travel through the desert for days. Richard hunts the monsters to provide them with food. That doesn't sound like something a horrible demon would do. Moreover, Richard tells Eris that he used his third eye to find that monster, though he doesn't seem to be proud of it. So Eris offers to chop his third eye by using her sword. Richard didn't mean it that way. After a few days of travel, they reach a village, but the guard refuses to let them enter because he finds those children rather suspicious. After negotiating with the village chief, they entered it. The guard notices Rudy's necklace, and it is revealed that he is Roxy's father. Hence, it turns out they have entered Roxy's hometown. Not that much of a good first impression of his father-in-law. However, Rudy finds every blue-haired woman similar to Roxy. Hopefully, he doesn't add their panties to his collection. Moreover, Rowan reveals that Migard's lifespan is around 200 years. Therefore, he says that Roxy will turn 44 this year. The village chief tells Rudy about Rudyard's goal, which is to dispel the ill reputation of Superds. Rudyard explains that 400 years ago during the war, the Superds were given spears from Laplace as a token of loyalty, but those spears were cursed. They started to change them mentally, and before they knew it, they were killing everyone within sight, even their own families. Rudyard had killed his son during that chaos. Superds think that spears contain the soul of the wielder. That's why Rudyard uses his son's spear. Rudius decides to help him clear his name. Thus, they form the weirdest gang with the most difficult mission. Rudyard's backstory did hit Rudy hard. That's why he decided his best to help Rudy achieve his goal. Therefore, they continued their journey with Rudyard helping them during the journey. Though they might have received some unexpected guests, but Eris took care of them now that she got fond of her new sword. Anyways, after traveling for a few days, they finally managed to reach the city of Rikarsu. While Rudius helped them in the cities, they discovered that Rudyard has a nickname, Dead End. When they reach a big city, they notice that the security is tight due to the rumors of a Superd being spotted. They changed Rudyard's hair color to blue to make him look like a Migard and successfully tricked the guards. Moreover, they wander around the market of the well-established city of demons. To further check the credibility of the disguise, they entered the Adventurers Guild and introduced him as Dead End, but everyone laughed it off, saying that his hair is blue, not green. I didn't know demons were dumb enough to be tricked by changing their hair color only. They registered themselves with the guild as a 3-member party, Dead End. Being the newbies, their rank was only F. What? They're trying to settle a family now. Happy at the success of Rudyard's disguise, they headed to the inn to book a room. Meanwhile, Eris gets into a fight with the locals when they accidentally break her gown's button. However, Rudy makes it up by healing them. At this point, they seem to be worried about money, since they won't be able to afford their stay at the hotel after a couple of days. Imagine you get isekai'd but you have to work for a living. Anyways, at night, while sleeping, Rudius again has a meeting with Man God who tells him to take the quest for finding the kitten. This Man God seems to be more suspicious by the second. The next day, using Rudyard's third eye, they trace the kitten that turned out to be quite big. Probably everything is bigger in the demon continent. The kitten was locked up in a cave along with numerous other pets. Just when the animals were about to be released, they heard people approach. They hid in a dark corner to let the intruders approach. They ambushed them and bound them to the wall. One of them kicked Rudius, which enraged Rudyard, and he cut his head off in a split second. The other 2 were scared, so they immediately revealed that they kidnapped pets and acted like completing the quests when they were reported missing. Sounds like something weaklings would do. Rudius asks them, P-Hunters, to join their party because their higher rank will allow them to take better quests. Rudyard is against this and wants to kill the evildoers, but Eris speaks up and tells him to let Rudius do what he thinks is right, and ultimately he agrees. Looks like Rudy Boy finally has someone to simp on him. Moreover, Rudy orders those people to trade their quests and should spread the news about dead ends, though they should spread the good part. After finding that Rudius was affected by the mana disaster, Roxy was looking for him. She was relieved to know that none of them was on the dead list and finds Paul's message asking for help from his former comrades in finding his family on the guild notice board. Turns out Zenith, Lilia, and Aisha have gone missing since the mana disaster. Hence, Paul has notified Lilia's hometown and currently is heading towards Nihilus continent, which is the homeland of Zenith. At least he has set his priorities straight. While she was reading the message, she noticed 2 adventurers who appeared to be Paul's friends. She joined their party. I hadn't expected her to fall for Rudy this badly. Rudius and others are on their way to completing a quest of investigating a mysterious monster in the petrified forest. That quest seems to pay pretty well, which excites Eris because the monster would most probably be a tough beast. That is why the quest is paying high, but get surprised to see 2 other parties there for the same quest. Upon Rudyard's request, they tail the kids to rescue them if they are in a dangerous situation. Moreover, those kids seem to be rookies because they are walking in between monsters. Hence, they get attacked by 2 monsters. One looks like a giant spider while the other one is a giant snake, when they were sandwiched between 2 monsters. Though Rudius asks his team to hold and acts like everything is going according to plan, until one of the kids dies because of Rudius's delay for selfish gain. Therefore, Rudyard and Eris rush towards the monsters, while Rudy just stands there traumatized. So, as Rudyard and Eris kill those monsters, they rush to those kids. Rudyard then confronts Rudy and holds him responsible. Even Eris isn't able to defend him at this point, but the surviving member of the party thanks them for saving him and says that Rudius was not at fault. It was his fault that he couldn't evaluate his strength before taking the quest. They are taking the blame as if they are being rewarded for it. Moreover, Rudyard apologizes to the kid for treating him like a child. Instead, he is a full-fledged warrior. Later, the group finally manages to reach the mysterious monster who's a red hood cobra. At first, the monster was giving the group a hard time, but as they started to work as a team, they managed to annihilate the monster, though once again they were too late. Hence, there were some casualties. On their way back, another adventurer stopped them to tell them that he knew about their arrangement with P-Hunters and threatened to get their licenses revoked if they didn't give him half of their earnings. Rudius was about to level the whole city to protect them. Noticing his resolve, Rudyard washed his hair to reveal his true identity and threatened the adventurer never to blackmail them again. One wrong nod and he would have met his maker. Finding dead end amongst them, panic erupted in the city, and he escaped. When they met outside the city at night, Ruijerd acknowledged Rudius as a warrior. Can't expect that reaction even though he betrayed him. Moreover, Ruijerd looks at Eris and reveals that having someone to protect truly makes you a warrior. The next day, Ruijerd shaved his head to avoid such an accident. Bro looks like Saitama now. Moreover, Rudy gives Ruijerd a headband, and so they continued their journey toward the central continent. Rudius and the party arrived at the beach city. Eris was seeing the ocean for the first time and was excited to swim. She started taking off her clothes, but Ruijerd stopped her because there were numerous monsters in the water. That green head has always been a mood spoiler. Roxy had also arrived through a ship just when they went to the docks to secure a passage across the sea, but they didn't see each other. Anyways, the group meets a merchant and asks him to smuggle them to the Millis continent. The merchant informed them that every supered, fake or original, has to pay 2,000 green coins. That was an astronomical price, and they refused to leave him behind. That night, Man God appeared in Rudy's vision and advised him to go into the back alley as a surprise would be waiting there. Man God should know, getting mugged in a back alley is not a surprise. Anyways, the next day, Eris and Ruijerd seem to be practicing combat while we see a glimpse of Roxy as she spectates their fight. On the other hand, Rudius did as he was told and ran into a beggar child asking for food. Kind-hearted Rudy gave her food, as he was quite sure that Man God had pranked him. After the meal, the child introduced herself as Kishirika Kishirisu, the great emperor of the demon world. Already depleted, Rudius played along and treated her like a queen. The boy is setting the standards. Happy at his behavior, Kishirika bestowed one of her demon eyes, the Eye of Foreseeing, upon him. She literally pulled Rudy's eye and exchanged it brutally. He was having trouble on his way back as two visions were playing in his mind. Ruijerd confirmed her existence, and Rudius stayed indoors for a week to adapt to his new vision. After a week, he won against Eris in sparring practice, which made her lose morale, but he was no way near Ruijerd. His face was a total potato afterward. However, Eris seems to be sad, since Rudy has managed to pass her in every skill. During all these days, they were still not able to find a way to pay for Ruijerd's passage. Rudius decided to stop the step because Ruijerd was not agreeing to be illegally transported. Seems like even the demon has some morals. Seeing Rudy sneak out at night to sell his staff, Ruijerd decides to turn a blind eye to all the evil, until they cross the sea and agree to be smuggled because his pride doesn't allow him to let Rudy sell his precious staff for his sake. That's where the guy that Rudy previously saved walks in. On the other hand, Roxy, along with the dwarf, Talhand, and the elf, Elinalise, starts the search on the demon continent. Though Paul's teammates don't seem to like him, as they refer to the word scum for Paul, so it makes Roxy curious about Paul's background. Anyways, they check with the guild and get to know about a party, Dead End, that rose to fame after the Mana disaster. Roxy feared that the real Dead End was involved with the party. Therefore, they decide to keep clear of the party. It's been a little over a year since the incident, and Roxy was afraid that it was too late to look for them. But Talhand assured her saying that Zenith was an S-rank adventurer and Rudius was a pretty good mage too. So Lilia and Aisha are the real concern. She should be worried more about walking past them. The next day, while she is gathering information, she comes across Ruijerd and Eris sparring and gets scared when Ruijerd glances at her. She runs past Rudius towards her room and is flabbergasted to find Elinalise in her bed with 5 men who invite her to join them. At least they were kind enough to spread happiness. On the way to the next town, Roxy and Elinalise share their kinks. Elinalise laughs at Roxy, saying that she is still a child. Rudius found a smuggler to get Ruijerd across the sea while he took the ship along with Eris. His fantasies of an ideal voyage are shattered in the first few moments of the journey because Eris has severe seasickness. Ruijerd across the sea while he took the ship along with Eris. His fantasies of an voyage are shattered in the first few moments of the journey because Eris has severe seasickness. Ruijerd across the sea while he took the ship along with Eris. His fantasies of an ideal voyage are shattered in the first few moments of the journey because Eris has severe seasickness. Rudyard across the sea while he took the ship along with Eris. His fantasies of an ideal voyage are shattered in the first few moments of the journey because Eris has severe seasickness.